Crystal, how are you doing today?
Great. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being at the Pomegranate Festival.
Thank you for having me.
So this is the first time you're with us. So tell us a little bit about your background and your work and who you are.
Oh my goodness. Where do I start? Well, just been involved with a lot of different aspects of spirituality for many years. Been a tarot reader for nearly 20 years. And I've been engaged in root work for maybe 6 years now, 6 to 7 years, and been formally trained in both, and have kind of moved all over the place in the United States. So everywhere I go, I try to pick up clients and be helpful and do readings and do root work, and just a little, I guess you could say, eclectic path that I've had.
So you're going to be talking at the Pomegranate Festival of the importance of offerings. So tell us about that.
Sure. So pretty much one common theme that you will find across many traditions when you're doing any type of magical works is that when people engage with spirits, they present offerings to those spirits. So I'll be discussing why that's done, why that's important to do, and I'll be giving a lot of information regarding how to make those decisions on what types of offerings you're going to make, how to present those offerings so that they are accepted by spirits. It should be a really fun time.
It sounds really good. So tell us, in terms of offerings, if somebody's not familiar with offering to the spirit world, do you mean in terms of a physical offering? Is this something you can give or you can bury in your garden? Or is this a gesture of thanks and goodwill?
Well, actually, yeah. So I'll be discussing that pretty much in detail. Actually, a prayer can be an offering. So even in the Christian church, where a lot of people think magical work doesn't exist, they do give the offering of prayer, and prayer in itself is a very powerful offering. So it could be prayer, it could be a physical object such as a piece of jewelry, it could be even water is considered an offering. So anything that you present to spirit with the intent of working with them is indeed an offering.
Nice, that's really interesting. And it sort of firms up what it is you're asking or you're sharing with spirit, because I feel like when it's a two-way street, you're giving and you're getting, and it just feels an even playing field rather than just going, give me this, give me that, I want this. Even if you're just asking,
Exactly.
you're asking and you're demanding from spirit without giving anything back.
You don't work for your employer and not expect a paycheck at the end of the week, right? So same kind of principle applies. Why would spirit come and work so hard on your behalf to open doors and to do things for you, and you're literally giving nothing in return?
Amazing. So let's talk about your workshop that you'll be doing, which people can buy at the Pomegranate Grove website. So your workshop is on ancestry. Tell me how you got into that.
Ancestor veneration is really an important component in root work. And you basically start with your ancestors, at least if you're doing it properly. If you've been taught properly by a mentor, hands-on, how to engage in root work, you will start with your ancestors and start with honoring them. And they are a very strong connection to the divine. They're actually a very strong connection to everything in spirit, and you already have a very natural connection to them. So the act of venerating your ancestors is simply you caring for those who came before you, you taking care of those who took care of you when you couldn't take care of yourself.
Wow, that's really powerful. So again, it's like the give and take thing that we were talking about, but actually giving back to your past, to the people that made you who you are.
Exactly.
It's a really interesting thing in spirituality to thank your younger self, and even in traditional sort of modern therapy, let's cut that bit. And even in modern sort of forms of therapy now, when you look back at your younger child and thank your younger self and who you've become, but actually thanking your ancestors, it kind of goes way, way back. What's the main sort of takeaway that people can learn from looking way back to their ancestry?
Well, of course, we have ancestors all the way back to the beginning of time. So you literally have an army of spiritual force behind you. And you'll learn in my workshop how to really develop the relationship with them so that, I mean, you know, a lot of people, and even if you're not involved in spiritual or magical works, I should say, of any type, it is an important connection to make because, you know, today in today's world, there are so many people out there that suffer from depression, that suffer from loneliness, that just feel like they're alone in this world for whatever reason. And you really aren't. And I can personally attest to the fact that once you develop that relationship with your ancestors, you won't feel like you're walking alone in this world. You will feel their presence around you. You will see evidence that they are there with you. And you always have someone to turn and talk to. And it's a very reciprocal relationship. They give you just as much as you give them. So it's a really beautiful practice. It's practiced in just about, I should say, it's practiced in a lot of cultures. In the West, we don't really take heed to it as much as other cultures do, but it's a really beautiful practice. And once you engage in it, it's easy to understand why so many cultures around the world engage in this practice.
So people will learn how to go way back into their ancestry history and how to take that and understand who they are and how they've become who they are to then take that forward in the future. So this is really learning about how we can develop ourselves and how we can understand ourselves and how we can move forward with that knowledge. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. It's that and so much more. There's just, as you develop that connection truly with them, you will have a greater understanding of so many things that are happening in your world around you. You, like you so eloquently stated, you'll definitely have that understanding of why you are who you are. And again, you won't feel alone. You'll know whose shoulders you stand upon. And you'll be able to take a lot of comfort and pride and strength from that on a daily basis in your life.
Amazing. I think it's so important right now to know who we are. And with this, the age we're living in, an online presence, people have their online presence and their physical presence. And now we're really opening up to our spiritual presence. And that encompasses everything of who we are. And it sounds like your workshop will really let people know who they are inside and who they are spiritually and where they come from physically, to allow them to go forward with who they want to be.
Yes, that I intend to give that and more.
Yeah.
And the reason I call it the Average Girl's Guide to Ancestor Veneration is because, as you can imagine, when you look at different cultures that practice this tradition, they have different rules and different ways of doing things. And it can be confusing when you're looking at where do I fit in and how do I do this, because I don't come from this culture, and maybe, you know, something that they're practicing doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not religious and I'm not necessarily that spiritual, but I do want to look at this and I do want to, delve into this. And there's ways to do that, that you as the average person out there looking at it, not, not attached to any of those cultures, you can definitely jump in and do it. And indeed, it is what I've done. So I'm just using what I've done and passing it along to others.
Crystal, it sounds amazing. It sounds like a really good mix of spiritual and physical, matter of fact, into that spiritual realm and empowering people to move forward in their lives. And I think that's exactly what people need. So that's Saturday from 12 till 1 UK time and 7 till 9 Eastern Standard Time. I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Really, sounds great.